Some nights are meant to be remembered forever. The night you land the job you thought you'd never get. The night your world finally tilts the right way. August 16th, 2005 was supposed to be that night for Jennifer Cave. She had fought for this, stumbled, fallen, and risen again. And now her future stretched wide and open ahead of her. Her voice sparkled with excitement over the phone to her mother. Her laughter filled the air that hot Austin evening. Her plans were simple: celebrate a new beginning and start the rest of her life. But by the next morning, the calls would go unanswered. Her car would sit untouched in a parking garage, and Jennifer Cave would become a name whispered not in celebration, but in grief. Some nights mark the start of a dream. Some nights end it forever. Jennifer Cave wasn't supposed to shine. Not in the way she did. Born and raised in Texas, she grew up fighting expectations. Some set by others, many set by herself. She struggled through school, made mistakes, took detours, but she never gave up. When she landed a job at a prestigious law firm, it wasn't luck. It was clawed out of second chances and late nights and relentless stubbornness. That Tuesday night, she decided to celebrate. Sixth Street buzzed like it always did. Neon lights painting the humid air, music leaking from every open door, the electric feeling that anything could happen thick in the streets. Jennifer wasn't alone. Friends floated in and out of the night, names later stitched together like frayed puzzle pieces. They laughed over drinks. They wandered from bar to bar, their faces blurring into the crowd. Jennifer was radiant. Witnesses would later describe her as happy, alive, vibrant, but also slightly drunk. At some point during the night, she crossed paths with a friend, someone she trusted, someone familiar. That was the last time anyone would see Jennifer Cave alive. The next morning, the sun rose over Austin like it always did. The streets buzzed. The bars emptied out. The world turned forward, as if nothing had changed. Except for one thing. Jennifer Cave didn't call her mother. Sharon Cave waited. She checked the time. Maybe Jennifer had slept late after a night of celebration. Maybe she had turned her phone off. Maybe. But as the hours passed, hope began to rot into fear. Sharon dialed Jennifer's phone again and again. It rang, until it didn't. Until all that answered was silence. By evening, the excuses began to crumble. Jennifer didn't miss calls, not anymore. Not now that she had something to lose. Sharon drove to Jennifer's apartment, knocked on the door. No answer. She called friends. She called anyone who had seen Jennifer that night. Everyone said the same thing. They hadn't heard from her either. The silence, once innocent, now screamed in her ears. By day 2, Sharon was no longer waiting for a phone call. She was looking for a body. Jennifer's car was found first, parked in a dim garage off West 6th Street. The doors were locked. Her purse was inside, her wallet, but no sign of Jennifer. Police took the report, officially formally, but in the first few critical hours it felt like no one was really listening. A college girl out drinking. Maybe she'd run off. Maybe she'd made a bad decision. Maybe. Sharon refused to believe it. She retraced Jennifer's last known steps. She found out Jennifer had celebrated at bars along 6th Street. She pieced together witness statements. Jennifer had been drinking, but not heavily. She was seen laughing. She left with a friend. A friend. Sharon pushed harder. Friends mentioned a name, Colton Pitonyak. But nobody seemed worried. Colton was clean-cut, well-liked, an honor student at UT. Surely he was helping her. Surely there was an explanation. For a brief, flickering moment, Sharon allowed herself to believe Jennifer was alive. Maybe she was hiding. Maybe she'd gotten scared after too much drinking. Maybe. Hope is a stubborn thing, even when logic tries to smother it. Police canvassed the bars. They asked around 6th Street. No one had seen Jennifer since that night. Some whispered rumors. Maybe she met a stranger. Maybe she left willingly. Maybe she ran into trouble. Jennifer was young, beautiful, alone. It wasn't hard to imagine dangers lurking in the shadows of 6th Street's neon glow. As hours turned into days, the theories multiplied. One bartender mentioned seeing Jennifer leave with a guy, but couldn't remember his name. Another said she seemed happy, not scared. Another said nothing at all. Blood on the floor, blood on the sink, blood on the walls, and no sign of Colton Pitonyak, the clean-cut honor student. The golden boy with the easy smile. He had vanished. By the time Jennifer's body was discovered, Colton was already across the border. He had fled to Mexico, not alone. With him was Laura Hall, another University of Texas student. Together they had crossed into Mexico under false names. Together they had checked into cheap hotels. Together they had tried to erase the stain of what happened. But they couldn't run forever. Colton was arrested in Guatemala days later. Calm, silent, no struggle. He returned to Austin in handcuffs, and the lies, the few still standing, began to crumble. The courtroom buzzed with tension. Reporters lined the benches. Family members clutched tissues and stared blankly ahead. And there, while in a pressed suit and polished shoes, sat Colton Pitonyak, the boy who had once been a shining star, now hollow-eyed, now cold, now utterly silent. He pled not guilty to murder. His defense, that he didn't remember anything, that drugs and alcohol had stolen his memory, that he had awoken to find Jennifer dead, and had panicked. But there was no panic in the aftermath. No desperate 911 call. No frantic rush for help. Instead, hacksaws, towels, Mexico. Sharon Cave sat through every gruesome photo. She listened to every clinical autopsy detail, every fact that shredded the daughter she had once cradled in her arms. The jury didn't buy Colton's story. They saw the evidence. They saw the lies. They saw the mask, not fall, but shatter. In March 2007, Colton Pitonyak was found guilty of murder, sentenced to 55 years in prison. Laura Hall, who had helped him flee, was convicted separately. She would spend time behind bars too, but nowhere near enough. There are murders that make headlines, and then there are murders that leave craters. Jennifer Cave was not perfect, but she was alive, vibrant, fighting her way towards something better. And she trusted the wrong person. Her family visits her grave now, not her new job, not her dreams, just cold stone and memories that never got to be finished. Sharon Cave became an advocate for victims, for justice, for mothers who wake up screaming in the middle of the night. In the end, there was no real explanation, no answers that made sense, no apology that could ever fill the hole left behind. Only silence. And a name, Jennifer Cave, etched in heartbreak forever. Jennifer Cave wanted to celebrate the beginning of her life. She never knew it would be the night it ended. The ones we trust, the ones we laugh with, the ones who seem like they'd never hurt a soul, are sometimes the very ones who hold the sharpest knife. This was not just a crime. It was a betrayal that shattered more than one family. It tore a hole through a community and left behind only questions that can never be answered. Do you really ever know the people around you?